Hey everybody, I'm the Bat Otter, and in this video I wanted to talk about Stone Ocean. More specifically, the ending to Stone Ocean. Now I get it, I'm late to the party. It ended whenever the batch came out, right, a couple months ago, which in itself is an issue, but we will get to that later. But I just recently watched it. I watched it last weekend with a couple of friends of mine. We were watching JoJo. Periodically, we'd watch 3 episodes at a time for each of the batch releases to make it flow well. I like to watch entire arcs rather than one episode at a time. I feel like one episode at a time can be very dragged out unnecessarily, especially whenever you have the entire thing at your fingertips. It's a different experience whenever you're watching them as they come out. It's different then, but whenever you have them all at your disposal, watch an arc, and who it's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna hurt you. Uh, we had taken a long break from it. We just stopped watching it, and I wanted to finish it. I've loved the ending of Stone Ocean since the moment that I read it, and I've read this ending so many times over the course of the last 4 years. Whenever I first read it in 2020, which was 3 years ago, not four, uh, and I've loved it every single time. The tension, the stakes, everything about it, the way that it all culminates at the very end to give us a very bittersweet ending where there's still tragedy, but there's also this nice relief that you feel for all of these characters, particularly the characters in Stone Ocean. Maybe not so much the original characters, but at least these guys that we're concerned about. And it had been a while since I have seen the ending or read the ending. And I was very excited to see how the anime was going to handle the ending, especially since I've been very mixed about Part 6, the anime. I feel like they've cut some things out, they've shortened some things to make the batch release. Stone Ocean is the longest part, I believe, compared to 3, 4, and 5, yet it has the shortest number of episodes. So they obviously shortened it in terms of the anime, unlike Stardust Crusaders. Stardust Crusaders in page count, I trust me, I did the numbers, check Reddit. Uh, Stardust Crusaders has a shorter page count than Stone Ocean, yet the Stardust Crusaders anime is longer. Why is that? It's because they ordered 3 batches of episodes. 3 batches of 12, 36 episodes. That's less than 42 episodes. That was Stardust Crusaders, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it wasn't, then it was 39. But the fact of the matter is, longer manga, shorter anime. Shorter manga, longer anime. Why is that? It's because I'd imagine that the creative team didn't get the creative freedom that they had in other parts of JoJo because of this buyout deal. Now there are a lot of politics and ins and outs and people shaking people's hands and this and rushed animation and other such things involved with JoJo, with the whole Netflix owns them now sort of thing. And you can definitely see that the animation quality of Stone Ocean is lesser than it was in even Golden Wind, and the score, the soundtrack even, it reuses a lot of stuff, which that really disappointed me as a fan, because Golden Wind had such a phenomenal soundtrack with each of the character pieces that it had. It's one of my favorite soundtracks from the entire series, second only to, I'd say, Stardust Crusaders. Because Stardust Crusaders provided a lot of the sounds that you heard from then on. You hear a lot of Stardust Crusaders in Part 4, you hear it in Part 5 as well, and you hear so much of it across Part 6, which I think was a wasted opportunity to give some of these Part 6 characters. Another problem that I had with the soundtrack, I know that I'm going off on a tangent. Let's retitle this video to talking about Stone Ocean as a whole, maybe. I'll get to the ending here in a minute. But the big problem that I had with Stone Ocean is the theme that they chose for Jolene. And that was JoJo Stone Ocean. They have the vocals doing JoJo Stone Ocean, and they're carrying on this sort of tradition. I don't know how it became a tradition that they started in Diamond is Unbreakable, where they had the 90s kind of rock beat going breakdown, breakdown. Then they did Golden Wind in Golden Wind, and now they're doing Stone Ocean and Stone Ocean. Are they going to do Steel Ball Run and Steel Ball Run? Are they going to do JoJolion and JoJolion? Are they going to do JoJo Lands and JoJo Lands? I think it's unnecessary. And I think that creating the song around the title of the anime doesn't work, and it limits what you can imagine. If in Jotaro's theme in Stardust Crusaders you had this stupid chorus in the background going Stardust Crusaders, the best part of the song is not the vocals, it's the jazz and rock fusion that they created for the song. It's the killer Piano, by the way, that's also integrated. And me being me, I love it whenever you integrate different genres of piano into different music where it might not otherwise be, and you have very spectacular and artistic thoughts coming out of the keys that you wouldn't get. You have a piano solo and a guitar solo both mixed in on the same track, and it works together. All the while you have pseudo, I will say pseudo jazz drums playing in the background, and a very funky soundtrack with a lot of power to it and a lot of punch to it that really, really does make you feel the overall themes in Stone Ocean. And then you have this weird choir. Are they even real? Did they get actual people to do this, or did they type it up on MuseScore and get the stock choir sounds to do it, saying JoJo Stone Ocean? Like, out of all the things, all the mashups, all the fusions that they did on the Stone Ocean soundtrack, I think that has to be one of the least necessary and most jarring parts of that song. And if the song didn't have that and instead had a good chorus and resolution, then it would be much better. But instead, we're opting to put the title of the anime in the theme song because we're 5 years old and we don't know what we're watching. That was a very big side tangent. But I wanted to talk about the ending. So let's talk about the ending. What about the ending? The amount of tension that I get every time that I read the ending. From the part where Jotaro punches Pucci, from the part where Jotaro appears, where you have this very, very climactic moment. Oh my gosh, Jotaro, he's here. He's going to save the day like he always does. And then Pucci attains heaven. And you get this very still shot, this very calm, like the calm before a storm, if you've ever been in a hurricane, where everything seems oddly normal. It's too quiet, right? You get this silhouette jumping piece to piece. What's going on? What's happening? You get the subtle hints that maybe time is moving a little bit faster as Pucci then is using his new power to overwhelm our characters and push them into a corner. All the while, he's getting the one up on all of them every chance that he gets. We see a shot. Jotaro stops time, but not after being cut in the throat, bleeding out, seeing Pucci finally understanding what's happening, but not being well enough to beat him because he was just cut in the throat. We see Jotaro get overwhelmed. Now, we've seen him get overwhelmed before. We've seen it against Theo. We've kind of seen it against Kira with Bites the Dust whenever he gets the drop on him. But to see a character like Jotaro, who's been established as such a powerhouse in the JoJo universe, not only because of his stand, but because of his fight IQ, be manhandled by Pucci. He has a gang of people around him that are experienced fighters, and he's getting bodied. So they leave. They shoot the gun into the ocean. Hermes shoots the gun. They use Kiss. Boom. Now they're tied to the gun. Jolene has them all wrapped up in a string. They come up with this plan. Anasui says, Jotaro, whenever he hits me, I will sacrifice myself so that way you can stop time and get him and he'll be close enough. You know, I can't beat the crap out of you if I don't let you get close. We have this plan. We're going into it. The tensions are rising. Finally, Anasui gets hit. He gives Jotaro the signal. Jotaro stops time. He's about to lay into him. And it's Jolene's arm. Okay, well, that's 1 second down. Moves the arm. Gets the two of them out of the way. 2 seconds down. 3 seconds down, he's approaching Pucci. 4 seconds down, just when you think all is right, Pucci has already thrown a barrage of knives at Jolene, causing a brief moment where Jotaro doesn't know what to do. He moves Jolene out of the way. 4 seconds down. He's moving towards Pucci. 5 seconds. And it was too late. And in no time at all, it moves very quick. In no time at all, Jotaro's sliced in half. Hermes has her arms cut off. Anasui is dead. And Jolene has a knife in her side. And the characters are dead. Just like that. And you think it's over. But by moving Jolene out of the way, he gives her just enough life. And while Pucci is distracted with Emporio, as Emporio's shooting at him, emptying the gun, and you see this moment of desperation and this trauma that's welling up in Emporio's eyes, continuing to pull the trigger even after the gun is unloaded. And he gets pulled under the water. And we find that Jolene, after all of that, knife in her side, bleeding out, still opts to save him by putting him on some dolphins and hoping that by doing so, he's able to ride it out as the universe is reset, get to safety on land. She stays back to fight Poochie, obviously gets bodied very easily. But there's something that Araki said in Manga and Theory and Practice, and I believe other interviews. And he said that when he writes JoJo, he writes it as a paean to humanity. Now, what is a paean? It's an ode, right? It's an homage to something. And that is to humanity's will to continue, their will to fight, their resolve, as it would be mentioned in Golden Wind, to continue to go and persevere despite all odds. And that's what I love so much about this ending, is that Jolene just watched her father, who she's just now reconnecting with, her friends that she's had all of these crazy moments with, get cut down right before her very eyes in no time at all, as they're backed into this corner, and the only person that can possibly survive is Emporio. And despite the fact that they're all cornered, that there's no way out, she continues to push unrelenting in the face of this. The way that all of that is written, the way that these characters act and move in the story, well, I just think it's awesome. Don't that's all I can really say about it. It sounds almost childish, but when you're describing something as simple as a fight and somebody who is unwilling to back down, a group of people unwilling to back down, a group of people putting their lives on the line for each other, that you've just read an entire series about, and they're all now getting chopped down. Now, of course, the rest of the ending, talking about fate, Poochie messing it up by allowing himself to get murdered by Emporio, the universe resetting, Emporio coming back, stunned and confused, seeing these characters as their newer selves that haven't experienced these terrible things, seeing Jolene as they're going to Jotaro's house to ask for his blessing in the marriage, as the universe is reset and everything has a somewhat happy ending. It was an incredible ending. High tension, high stakes, and I think a perfect representation of Araki's theme that he wants to put overall of JoJo, and that is a pie into humanity. And I think a lot of the weight from it comes from what I mentioned about JoJo Lands, and that is it's a 20-year-old series by then. Started in '88, ended in 2003, so 15. But you're talking about 15 years of development, 15 years of characters, uh, thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, I should say, read, hundreds of episodes of anime watched, of all of these characters building, 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 as you're watching the time fly for the characters, right? As you're building those kind of mental connections, you're building those establishments for the characters, how they act, how this is, how that is, and you finally see it all end. Now I think that's a wonderful world. You see what I did? The whole video is for that. I'm kidding. Uh, but yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments about the ending. I know that Stone Ocean, before it was an anime, was very controversial. It was the least favorite part. Now that it is an anime, people are changing their minds, and they said, I actually always liked Stone Ocean. It was always my favorite, and Jolene has always been the best JoJo, and I've always thought that. So tell me what you guys think. I know that half this video was me talking about the soundtrack, and I'll be out with more JoJo videos because YouTube likes consistency, so I'm about to give YouTube consistency. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to check the links in the description. Follow me. Check out my short story, The Pigeon Queen. All of that good stuff. I'll see you guys later.